You never want to be disconnected from the team. So I always had a pulse on everything. You want to make sure the customer doesn't get to a point where they're so angry at you because you're ignoring them. At the end of the day, they're buying you. The product is an extension of you. So I think for me, it's always tackling what's going to delight a user and how are we going to keep users happy. But you have to go into your startup with some sort of thesis that you think is correct. But when I'm tackling problems in my company, we set a goal. Right now we're setting a monthly revenue goal. You set that goal and you try to execute towards that goal on a daily basis. I would say North Star that you're going the right way, but you just have to build towards the direction you want to take your company. You write these goals down. What's the goal at the end of the month? And you just move towards that direction day after day. If you make small incremental change day after day, it would have never happened without that arduous ethos of iterate, refine, get feedback, iterate, refine, get feedback. You sit down with your team, you write on a whiteboard, give me the 2 things you're going to tell me about next week that you accomplished for the bigger vision of the company. And that could be fixing a bug. That could be building a feature. That could be closing a customer. That could be just reaching out to 2 customers. Doesn't matter. It could be whatever you set that goal internally. I love the process of the building, and that's where I find the most joy. That's why I did it a second startup, because you're building a culture, a team. You have these amazing team members with you on this journey, and there's a nice camaraderie. You're not friends, but it's also like you want to build a team you want to work with for a long time. And I do think that this is another art of it, is like you want to stay in your startup. If you're not happy in your startup, you need investors that believe in you. You need employees that want to work with you. And at some points, it gets a little stressful and you have to reset the vision. But, you question yourself when you have large teams, because these people are so smart and they want to run things the way they want to run things. How do you balance all that together? There's no wrong answer. But internally, we had this debate today. It's if we build this product for this large customer, we're actively hurting our existing customer base who are asking for more features. We're going to walk away from this large deal. I feel like that we worked on for like a month, and I'm like, worth it, because the existing customers are a real customer base. We can get 30 more, 100 more, 1,000 more of that type of customer. You can dilute your brand quickly when you start to just build everything that everybody wants. And it's hard, but you just have to figure out, okay, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? In this startup in particular, I hired salespeople too early. I think it has to be founder driven for the first year or 2, right? You have so much knowledge and so much passion as the founder. At the end of the day, they're buying you. The product is an extension of you in the early days. I realize you can't hire people super early in the business. You have to be the person doing the sales. When I'm getting the feedback and I go in and I fix the product with the team, it's happening at a fast rate. And I know it's possible. You guys are all founders. It's like you just make the change. You get the engineering team on a call, you map it out, and we launch it in like a week. And then you can sell that, whatever that other thing. But so we're doing all of the sales ourselves and say like, we're going to do it until we feel we find the right person, or, we hit a point where it's hard to do all the sales. It doesn't scale when you're doing all the sales yourself, but you just have to do it. I'd rather get more users on board, have them love us at this point, have them refer 2 or 3 more people, and grow. For me, it's getting users to love the product, getting them onboarded, getting more customers as fast as possible. I would call it deal mode. There is a point where you want to just have appropriate pricing. Let's get a customer in the door. Let's get them to love us. Undercut a lot of the competition. We could optimize. There is AI costs and all that. Our team is super lean, and that's intentional. I don't want to overhire. We have been building the team remotely. I wanted to be very intentional about the team. So we're really selective pricing wise. We can double our prices. I do think that might have an effect on input of customers converting to using our product. It's more of just getting the users to use the product as it is now. Again, the earlier customers always get a sweeter deal. And for me, like, we're in earlier customer phase where I want to get as many customers in versus flipping the switch and making it a higher priced product. Another thing is simple pricing. I think that helps for a startup. But if you want to do complex pricing, our product can handle that for our customers. Simple pricing always makes easier sales. You could always do credits. It becomes more complicated for another startup. I've seen some startups not be able to bill their own customers because they made their billing too complex. You don't want to get in a situation like that, right? Where you're like, I don't know how much to bill this person. I've got usage-based credits. I have to first look at that. And when your team is small, so we sell to a lot of startups, just get the revenue in the door. So simpler is better. Our pricing is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. That's why when we get somebody, that's interested, they don't question the pricing. For the human review, that right there is really just our team making sure that the data is imported correctly or that you're getting ramped up correctly. Once you start using the product, that kind of falls away. Implementation portion of the startup where you have 100 customers or 2,000 customers and you have a contract signed or you're using Stripe. What we do is we generally have an implementation fee or we waive it. We'll just try to help the customer get familiar with the product for a while, and then we can hop in anytime. Customers will generally need our help for the first month, and then they get used to the product and stop reaching out to us. It's more do things that don't scale, and that's one of those things where I feel you need everybody to absolutely love you. Every one of our customers has my cell phone that I close. My co-founders are closing other deals. I let them handle those, but I'm like, if you're a customer that I've closed, here's my cell phone. I've had people call me at 10 p.m. at night on a Saturday. I'll just tell them exactly what they need to do. I know what they're asking for, and I'll just leave them a loom on a Saturday night, and then it makes them happier. They just need about a week of hand-holding to a month, but if they need my help, I'm there. If we get to a point where I can't help all of those customers, we'll probably either hire someone or push it to one of our internal team members. I just would help them nonstop. Once a month, I would try to do a call with somebody for 2 hours and be like, is it working for you? And then they would give me so much insight that I saw the perspective of where the company could go. I didn't need to do those calls. I could have had the sales people do all of it. But if you become disconnected as the founder, you have to talk to your customers. You don't need to do any of that. You can just manage it, but you're so disconnected, it becomes dangerous if you don't know what's happening in your company, and then you have layers of people managing a company. What I would do is there were natural people that just absolutely wanted to give feedback. I would just find those customers and just listen continually and just understand, okay, this is what needs to happen. It's just when there's a problem, you want to just get to the root of the problem. You could lose the perspective that you need. But I think Brian Chesky in his talk spoke about a lot of that instinctually. He calls it founder mode. I was just doing it because I felt like it was, you never want to be disconnected from the team. So you're constantly checking. It's a lot of work on the support side. What's happening? What is this? Is this scalable? Is this not scalable? I always had a pulse on everything throughout the life of the company. I'd rather them give me what they need than not hear it and then cancel. So this is actually good poison. There's like a bad poison and a good poison. A bad poison is they just don't talk to you, they cancel and they move on to something else. A good poison is they just tell you problems in your company. Because when they're telling you that, you're hearing about all of the org, what's wrong here, what's wrong there. If I ignored all of that, it's not going to get better. And I think that was why the team was so motivated. They just saw how passionate I was. Sometimes friction is a good thing. It creates a better product and a better team. Write down one or two things that you feel are the right things to work on. And try not to let these things that'll just pull you in these time wasters, list those two things out and have them on your docket. I use Microsoft To Do. I'll write two things down and say, reach out to 5 customers or fix this one bug. And that's the goal for the day. And everything else that just kind of happens, if you can get those two things done, it allows you to keep the focus that you want and the direction you want to take the company. You'll get on Twitter and it'll pull you in another direction. An employee will try to pull you in another direction. Your co-founder might pull you in another direction. What were those two things that I needed to get done? I needed to reach these 5 customers and fix this bug. Did I do that today? And if you don't reflect, do it tomorrow. And if you don't reflect and be like, there's something wrong, I didn't do this in 2 or 3 days in a row, I need to just change something to get those things done, because that was the most important thing that those were my goals. And it wasn't anything complex. It was you write the 2 or 3 things down, get it done at all costs. And that means staying up till 2 a.m. That means like ignoring 5 people, like whatever it is, you just like get those 2 to 3 things done. And it's what you think will help move the business forward. It's an art. It's not a science. It's like you write down what you feel like can help impact the business the most. So you kind of reflect, you say, okay, what do we need to get done? What's going to make change and good impact on the business? When people say first thing in the morning, I check email, I'm like, is that on your top 3 lists? Like 3 things? If it is, then that's good. If it's not, you're wasting your time. Email will just suck you in and you'll just waste time. AI is hot or AI is going to crash. it is a forcing function for people to look at their business and to say, like, am I doing things the right way, or should I use AI? Everyone was looking at mobile and saying, do I want to buy this for my kid and play video games, or can I use this for my business? For me, AI is that forcing function right now where people are open-minded. So what an AI can you do in construction? I don't know what that is. I helped PlanGrid get into Y Combinator. PlanGrid was this massive exit. I saw the same vertical where Tracy and our other two co-founders came to me. They're like, we want to do what you did in healthcare, but we're going to apply it to building blueprints. I got it instantly, and I'm like, you guys need to get into YC. And like, they just killed it. So like, it was that same momentum. And in AI, it's there. It's like, you just have to like really figure out what's going to close deal after deal. But it takes time to like build a brand. Maybe the construction industry is similar, where it's going to take you a long time to just change people's minds, because you get logos, you put them on your website, 1 logo, 2 logos, 3 logos, 4 logos. Once you have a case study set of customers using your product, suddenly people might think about it a little bit and be more open-minded. You're probably going to have to plow for a while through until you break through and you have that product market fit with the in crowd. You suddenly become part of the in crowd. I think it depends on if they're going to leave. You want to make sure the customer doesn't get to a point where they're so angry at you because you're ignoring them, but you want to build stuff that you want to build for yourself. So there's a back and forth there. I do think people that are paying you, that's important. Prioritize them. If you have one big customer, they have 3 features that you want, but you're just like, hey, we want to close this customer over here, and we want to close that customer over there, and they want these other features, but the existing customer they need this. So that it's an art. But you also build stuff that you see as part of the future, whatever that might be. And I think there's a friction that happens where you're diverting resources to different areas. Just be careful, because you only have so many bullets in the gun to try things. Existing customers who are paying you, they are telling you things that are really, really good. Just make sure it's scalable. Unless they're saying something that's not scalable, you probably want to figure out a way to make it scalable and build it for them. But you kind of divert buckets, but you don't want to not do any, you want to do all of it at the same time. You don't want to like not do none of it. The existing customer is going to get some love and get their stuff built out because they've been around and they are important. There's features you want as the founder, work on those also, but you just rotate between all of it. You also need sanity checks. Like, you don't want to go crazy and build something that like no one wants. You need to get the users with revenue giving you constant feedback also, so you don't go crazy and just build crazy speculative product. I've been using Super Whisper. So I'm just throwing tools at you guys. Super Whisper is super cheap. I think every one of you guys should try it. One of the founders of OpenAI recommended it. I use it to write emails and draft emails. I use ChatGPT. I take transcripts, I put it in there. I create a profile of a salesperson. I kind of use that to like write some of this stuff. I'm also going to a lot of YC events. Yesterday they had the alumni day. I went to that. I met like 12 leads. Go to events that leads are at. Then we have a marketing team. They're writing blog posts, spinning up stuff. They're doing a lot to make us have a really good online presence. If I get in front of somebody, I have a chance. Like, a lot of people do these like automated emails and they're really good at it. I see a lot of YC companies doing it. It's really cool stuff. There's another investor called Rock Health. They do a CEO summit every year. I think the founder of Zillow came in one day and he gave a small talk. Zillow, the real estate app, and he was talking about how he would invest in executive coaching, try to find people that inspire you and like you want to work with. I did do this thing, I'd call it like the weekend report. You meet with your team weekly, do the weekend report, which is what'd you do over the weekend, or you'd say what is your high, low, and gratitude. So weekend report was fun because people would talk about their lives. High, low gratitude made people feel good because they were talking about appreciation and like what this person did over here. We'd bring up issues. We'd have high, low gratitude or weekend report. Those are just tricks that I used. And that was from this guy, Bill, who was the executive coach to Steve Jobs and a few other people.